Good evening, barflies and lounge lizards, and welcome to Late Night Video. And tonight we'll be taking a look at Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion from 1972. Directed by Shunya Ito, Female Prisoner Scorpion is one of the finest examples of Japanese exploitation. And much like Japanese filmmakers often do, they took it to the next level here. This one is not only a women in prison movie, but also contains elements of a revenge film. And the two come together perfectly. But this is a dark, gritty film. This isn't a fun Roger Corman style women in prison movie. I'd say it's much closer to something like Violence in a Women's Prison by Bruno Mattei, along those lines. Female Prisoner 701 tells the story of Nami, aka Matsu, who's dating a crooked cop, tries to stab him on the front steps of the police station headquarters and ends up going to prison for it. A violent, also crooked prison, and given the number 701, and she would soon earn the title of Sasori, or Scorpion. The film stars Meiko Kaji of Lady Snowblood and Stray Cat Rock fame, both of which I've covered right here on this very channel, and she is fantastic in this role. She's stoic, rather quiet, but still so intense. And though Lady Snowblood is probably her most famous role, I'd say this is possibly her most iconic. That image of her in the black hat and long coat is one I've seen for decades, long before I'd seen the movies and long before I even knew what they were from. But anytime Japanese exploitation films were mentioned, you would see that image of her in the hat and coat. This film has a great score, and the film's theme song, Urami Mushi, which you may know from Kill Bill fame, was actually sung by Meiko herself. She was quite the singer, still is quite the singer. The film was based on a manga by Toru Shinohara and was quite successful. It actually led to 3 sequels, all of which continued Nami's adventures, though the next 3 were more so her on the run than they were women in prison movies. Though there were elements of women in prison movies here and there, but they were mostly just her on the run and her quest for vengeance. Is it wacky? Nope, this one is not wacky. As I mentioned, this is a dark and grim film. I almost hesitate to call it an exploitation film because it seems to almost transcend that. Because people tend to think of a lack of quality or a low budget when it comes to exploitation. That is absolutely not the case here. Everything is top-notch. The cinematography, the directing, the acting, just the look of it, everything is really well done. And I just think kind of the grim, dark nature of it and the time in which it came out in is why it's kind of considered exploitation. I mean, it's kind of hard to think of a women in prison movie not being an exploitation film. And though, again, it definitely fits nicely into that world, I still think it transcends just pure exploitation. I give this one 4.5 women in prison seeking revenge out of 5. If you dig the darker end of women in prison movies or like revenge films, this is a great one to see. And that's all the time we have this week. Please like, comment, subscribe, and keep it wacky.
Wow.